Tennessee. I work as an environmental scientist with the Oak Ridge National Laboratory. I'm here to speak in support of the proposal to suspend nationwide Permit 21 until it expires. The Army Corps of Engineers has a responsibility under United States law to protect the functions of our nation's streams, and it must not relinquish this responsibility to other agencies whose primary focus is on coal mining regulation. As an environmental scientist, I know that natural streams perform many vital functions. Valley fills interfere with all of those functions. The physical valleys that streams have carved through the millennia have a unique geometry determined by the geologic conditions of climate of the region. Our region here in southern Appalachia was not intended to have flat land. Our streams and the valleys are appropriate to our climate and our physical condition. The size and spacing of streams and stream valleys are what's appropriate to carry the water and the sediment that moves through the landscape. Even the smallest streams collect and carry water downstream to major rivers, and they support valuable aquatic life. If you obliterate a stream by filling its valley, the water does not go away, it flows somewhere else. Physical alterations to a stream course can have devastating impacts, including flooding, another speaker mentioned. There's also mounting evidence, surprising to many people who thought we understood water chemistry, that water percolating through valley fills in the Appalachian region picks up natural constituents such as selenium that are toxic to humans and wildlife. Those are contaminants in water that should not be introduced to our nation's drinking water supply or the rivers and streams that support aquatic life. The arguments that I've heard over the years in favor of valley fills emphasize the money and economic value of coal, and they discount the values of functioning streams and ecosystems and of clean water. At one time, I even read an absurd argument by a federal agency that said that Appalachia has a high density of streams compared to the arid West, and suggested, apparently, that it's okay to get rid of some of our regional streams because we have too many. That's not true. I'm glad that the Army Corps of Engineers is here tonight to listen to our thoughts. The Army Corps of Engineers has a special expertise and a legal responsibility under U.S. law to do a thorough technical review of each and every proposal for filling in waters of the United States that has a significant potential to damage the waters of the United States. Every valley fill has its potential and therefore requires careful individual examination, not a perfunctory authorization through a nationwide permit. Please permanently suspend nationwide permit 21. Thank you.
Mayor and Lee Osborne.
Yes, we got all five. Jason Robinson. Okay. I'd like to thank y'all for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'd like to urge you to prohibit NFP 21 and to repeal it. So I'm an aquatic biologist, and I've heard a few folks say that there's no data been presented to support the rescinding of this permit, but if those folks had kept up with the science behind the impacts of mountaintop removal, then they would know that there are peer-reviewed studies that show that coal mines, surface coal mines, have a lot of detrimental effects to aquatic ecosystems. In fact, this issue is not about coal mining, it's not about mountaintop removal so much, it is about following the law. So all of these folks that are arguing from the economic aspects are basically arguing for a government handout to keep them from being under the law. The Clean Water Act applies to everyone, and we can show that there are more than minimal individual effects of surface coal mining. There are cumulative effects that include increased sediment load that impairs fish and macroinvertebrate community diversity and biomass. It permanently destroys wetlands such as Appalachian seeps, bogs, and wet rock faces that are in habitats for many endemic aquatic invertebrate species. I heard a gentleman mention that no streams have been impacted. I'd like to invite him to take one of my hydrology courses or go out in the field with me, and I will show you that aquatic organisms routinely they use these areas for habitat. And mountaintop removal and valley fills destroy these habitats permanently. They interrupt stream energy budgets by reducing allotment inputs, in other words, the leaf input from streams that reduces the amount of energy available for fish. If you care about fish, you should care about the paving of your watershed. We have the loss of entire orders of insects below some of these mines. That is the same as losing birch, beech, oak, and barberries from a terrestrial system. We are still discovering new aquatic insect species routinely. Some of these insect species are only known from single habitats, single watersheds, or single collections. So if we were really enforcing the Endangered Species Act and the Clean Water Act, we would have to do a permanent overhaul of the way that we approach the environmental effects of surface coal mining. All we are asking is that coal mining companies follow the law. The law is in effect, that we need the federal oversight on these individual permits because the states routinely cannot or will not do it. West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection is contradicted by their own biologists routinely. If the EPA doesn't step in and the Army Corps of Engineers doesn't step in, who will speak for speckled trout? How many ramps grow on reclaimed sites? How many ginseng patches? I speak for speckled trout and ramps and ginsengs and mammals and people who play the banjo. And I don't hate anybody, but I'm telling you right now, this is wrong and you guys know it. And I know you know it while you're working those machines.
Thank you, sir.
I'm here representing myself. I'm a retired soil scientist from Oak Ridge National Laboratory in Tennessee, nearby, and I've lived in Morgan County for over 30 years, one of the counties that are in the geographical region of your consideration. In my work as a soil scientist for over 3 decades, I've become keenly aware of the role of rainfall in erosion. Erosion is a natural phenomenon, but with the disturbance caused by surface coal mining and mountaintop removal, this erosion is unnatural and greatly accelerated. The surface disturbance caused by mining leads to huge increases in steam, sediment, pollution, and in the toxic chemicals leaked from shales surrounding the coal itself. The Appalachian geographical region has high rainfall, and with this, storm events that can have very high intensity. This natural attribute of Appalachia, this high rainfall with intense storms, is one significant reason to suspend NPW 21 as proposed. All surface mine permits in Appalachia need individual review, and we need to put an end to the phony claim that storm-driven pollution of waterways from surface mining are acts of God. And the other claim that is not addressed, the externalizing of the environmental impacts from mining onto the public, in particular the toxic chemicals that leach into the waterways from the rubble and disturbed materials. I support the suspension of WP 21 and the use of individual permits that can fully protect the environment in Appalachia, particularly the Appalachian waterways. Thank you.